you. And John, I understand we have calling in now, Dr. Oz.
I'll take it. Wednesday evening. Well, Dr. Mehmet Oz is calling in right now and to give us an update of, I guess, all the fraud that's going on or everything else that's going on, maybe even with Lindsey Graham. Dr. Oz, thank you for calling in this evening.
Thanks for spending time with me. We're all in mourning. Lindsey was a mentor and a friend. His loss was sudden for everybody, but there are some lessons to learn from what happened to our friend, and they may be able to save lives of people listening right now.
And tell us, I mean, you weren't his doctor. What have you heard, and what advice would you be? I mean, you were a cardiologist and you were a heart surgeon. What would your advice would have been if you were his doctor?
I am a heart surgeon, practiced at New York Presbyterian, just uptown from you. And one thing I'll tell you, because I specialized in some of these operations, was that when aortic dissection, when it happens, and I'll explain it in a second, you have minutes to respond. It'll be the worst pain you've ever had in your life. Generally, by the way, if you're having the worst pain you've ever had in your life, you should just quickly go to the ER, because oftentimes that is a predictor of some catastrophic issues. In this case, with an aortic dissection, it means that the tube coming out of your heart, which is like a garden hose, has sprung a leak. And that leaked blood can itself kill you. It can also put pressure on other organs, which can kill you. But any way you cut it, 30% of people die the day that it happens, and more than half are dead within 2 days. So you don't have the flexibility, because it's not just a matter of getting to the ER. When you get to the ER, a doctor has to see you, test you with ultrasound or some other test, diagnose that the aorta is torn the way I just described, you sprung a leak, and then you have to have a surgeon like me come in and with the team change that part of your aorta. So it takes hours to get that all choreographed, which is why some pretty famous people have died from aortic dissections. You know, Tex Ritter, his son John Ritter, both of them we believe died of aortic dissections. And there's the Lucille Ball. It's not that rare. But the cautionary note here is that there are some risk factors you could have right now as you listen to John's show that might predict your increased risk for it. And if you can avoid those, then you never have to get into this challenge that I just discussed. Number one, amongst all those risk factors, is whether you have high blood pressure. And high blood pressure, which as many may realize is called the silent killer, has earned that moniker because it is silent. You don't realize you're having high blood pressure until it whips you like this. So if you don't know your pressure right now, I'm going to assume it's high. And John, do you know what your blood pressure is?
Well, usually if I take it 2-3 times a day, it's about 130 over about 65. What should it be?
Perfect. That's a good number.
Yeah.
So 120 over 80 is typically what people think is ideal. Remember, hypertension is 140 over 90. Above that number, you do have to treat it. That doesn't mean you take medications. You can treat it with better lifestyle decisions, lose some weight, exercise, sleep better, etc. Then it's stress. But if the number's higher than 140 over 90 over time, that's going to weaken.
Well, what's more important? What's the numbers more important, the top one or the bottom one?
It's a great question. It turns out it depends how old you are. Young people, it matters more that keep that high number down, because their arteries are flexible, they're nimble, they'll stretch. But if they don't stretch well, then a high number will go up really, really high, and that's a warning sign. Older people, naturally, because their arteries are already stiff, will have a higher top number, but their lower number is more important. So both numbers matter, but your age impacts on that. The best way for you, however, at home to just process this is if you don't know your blood pressure, you have to assume it's high. John causes high blood pressure in other people, but he doesn't actually have it himself, and that's better. There are some people like that. We all know them. And that's an okay scenario because it means he's not aging his arteries as he's speaking on the program now. But if you're walking around with high blood pressure, you're torturing the aorta, the big tube coming out of your heart, and over time, it can develop plaques that can rupture, cause strokes. It can also rupture itself, and that's what happened with poor Senator Graham.
Well, there's no better advice than getting it from Dr. Oz to all our listeners. Dr. Oz, Wednesday night, anything else you want to, I know we're going to talk again on Sunday. Anything else you want to talk about tonight?
Well, the most important thing I think to highlight is that the Make America Healthy Again movement is impacting on just the kinds of things you've been talking about. And a lot of folks are there's so many things happening, they don't keep track of it, but we have changed the dietary guidelines. So now we have a correct food pyramid that highlights that you may eat fats. It's not a bad idea to have some healthy fats in your diet, and you definitely should not increase the carbohydrates in your diet, which are the white foods, the white rice, white flour, white pasta, white sugar, all the junk that people are willing to consume, especially the processed foods, are designed for shelf life, not human life. And so
tell us the typical white fats that you're talking about.
So anything that naturally has sugar, you can think candy, but also baked goods that have white flour and then sugar on top of them. These should be celebratory meals. You don't want to have that as your staple. That's why I'm not a big fan of donuts and bagels in the morning, because I think that it immediately sends your blood sugar skyrocketing, and your body has to respond by making insulin, and you have this huge hormone swing all day long. You're hungry, you're famished, you have to overeat, then you're hungry again. If you skip your breakfast and have your first meal around 10 or 11, think about it. Our ancestors did not wake up in the morning and have food ready for them in the fridge. They went out and they hunted their food. They picked their food. So you would not normally eat until several hours into the day. The whole idea you have to have breakfast was an advertising campaign by the cereal companies. So don't have something first in the morning. You have a cup of coffee or something. I like to use something called allulose. Allulose, A-L-L-U-S-O-E. It's a natural product that is similar to sugar, a cousin of sugar. Many companies use it now, but the good thing about it is you can bake with it. You can use it like sugar. It just doesn't have the same number of calories. It doesn't impact your hormones. But whatever you like to use, you can have coffee black, doesn't matter. A little cream, it's okay. But nothing sugary first thing in the morning. And then if you have your first meal at 11, then you can start to get away with some of these white foods. Listen, there's nothing more lonely than being on a diet. So I'm not telling you not to eat regular meals with friends and have a good time. But try to eat those white foods, the sugary, carbohydrate heavy, especially if they're processed foods, middle of the day. Don't let them mess up your morning and get you off to the wrong start. And definitely do not have them after dinner.
And dessert, I do intermittent fasting. Is that good?
Yeah, I'm proud of you. Yes. And it shows. It helps.
Yes.
But the intermittent fasting, to really make it work well, a very important point. You don't want to have dessert. Dessert is metabolic suicide. Dessert takes all the food you had at dinner and it deposits it as fat in your belly. So skip dessert. That way, when you intermittent fast overnight, by the morning when you get up, you haven't had anything mess your hormones up for 12, 14 hours. You actually don't feel hungry. And people who are naturally trending to be thin, they know these things. They do them instinctually. They don't have a big, heavy, fatty, sugary meal at least late at night. They finish their dinner by 8, and again, skipping dessert. In the morning, they get up, they're not hungry because they haven't been messing with their metabolism all night long. They sleep better. And people who don't have good sleep habits crave carbohydrates to keep them awake. And so it all is part of one big cycle.
Dr. Mehmet Oz, we're out of time. Can we talk again on Sunday?
I'd love to join you. You know that.
Okay. Thank you for coming on this Wednesday evening, and we'll talk again on Sunday. And I'm glad you're doing what you're doing. God bless you, and God bless America.
God bless you.